Topic 2 is on theory and review of literature. In this topic, we will look at what is theory, the role of theory in educational research, the need for literature review, criteria for good review of literature, and critique of a research article. A theory is a statement or set of statements that explain and predict phenomena. It is also a statement that indicates the relationship between two or more events. For example, Ausubel's meaningful learning theory states that meaningful learning takes place when a learner integrates new information with old information. What is the role of theory in educational research? Theory provides an important guide or focus for the direction of research by pointing to areas in which meaningful relationships of events or variables are likely to be found. Theory provides a rational basis for explaining or interpreting results of the research. Theory enables the researcher to make predictions about a wide range of situations. A review of literature is an in-depth account of keywords and information available on a research topic. A review of literature normally covers the following aspects which are related to your study, such as 1. Specific areas you are investigating. 2. Theories and approaches to be used. 3. Samples to be used. 4. Variables you are examining. 5. Analysis which are appropriate to your study. And 6. Findings obtained in similar studies. Essentially, a review of literature attempts to answer the following questions. Firstly, how are the previous studies related to your research? Secondly, what has been researched and what needs further research? In other words, what are the gaps in previous research? Next, what insights have you obtained about the area to be studied? For example, approaches, research design, methodologies analysis, and interpretation of findings, and the trends that have emerged. What is the purpose of literature review? The purpose of the literature review is fivefold. Firstly, it provides insights into the theories, approaches, and methodologies adopted by different researchers. This will provide sound theoretical and methodological frameworks for the intended study. Secondly, it helps researchers to identify gaps in the literature so that the intended study can focus on a research area that is significant and that has not been explored adequately. This will ensure that the research done will contribute towards knowledge and/or theory development. Thirdly, it helps researchers to delimit the research problem and define it clearly so that it has the right focus. Delimiting the research problem can only be achieved if the researcher reads extensively and intensively available literature about the problem to be investigated. Fourthly, it ensures that research to be done is on the right track, in line with the current trends. Such information can be obtained from the section on recommendations for further research that is found in every research study. These recommendations or suggestions are useful because they represent the insights of the researcher after he or she has studied the phenomena. Lastly, it provides the intellectual context for the research to be done, enabling the researcher to position his or her work relative to other works. This is possible because the review will show what has been done in the field and how the new study relates to earlier or previous research. Information for your literature review can be obtained from secondary sources, which are materials written based on the works of others. For example, reference books, textbooks, published academic writings. Information can also be obtained from primary sources, which are materials written by someone who actually conducted the study, which provide first-hand information, such as research articles published in journals. It is to be noted, research articles also contain information from secondary sources when researchers quote the works of other people. In writing the review of literature, beginning researchers make following common errors. 1. Their presentation is a mere description of various studies without making an attempt to show how the studies are related to the main aim of their studies and the research questions of their studies. 2. Articles or reports that are included are not critically evaluated. The researchers do not critically evaluate the research questions, the methodology used, the statistical techniques used, the discussion and conclusion arrived at, and recommendations made by other researchers. 3. Their presentation is a mere listing of past studies in isolation without making any connection among them in terms of similarities and differences. 4. They rely too heavily upon secondary sources and outdated sources. 5. Their citations are poor in the sense that the citations do not follow the APA format. 6. They plagiarize other people's work without acknowledging them. There is also evidence of cut and paste, which should not be encouraged. When we critique a research article, we first read the abstract to find out whether the researcher stated the purpose or objectives, subjects involved, instruments used, research design and analysis of the data, and implications for practice and research. Secondly, we read the introduction section of the research article to find out the rationale for the study, the reasons for the research questions or hypothesis, and whether the research questions emerge logically from the theory or theories presented in the study. Thirdly, we read the methods section to find answers to the following questions. Were the background of the subjects and number of subjects clearly described? Was the sampling method adequately explained? Was the design of the study appropriate and described in sufficient details? Was the instrument or treatment administered adequately explained? Are issues of reliability and validity discussed? What is the independent variable and dependent variable? Are the variables operationally defined? Were appropriate statistical procedures used? Was the treatment or intervention sufficiently explained? Were the procedures for the administration of the treatment clearly described? Fourthly, we read the results or analysis section to obtain information for the following questions. Were the results displayed using appropriate tables and figures, charts and graphs, which follow the APA format? Were appropriate statistical techniques used to analyze the data? Were results relating to the research questions or hypotheses clearly reported? If hypotheses were stated, were they reported as confirmed or not confirmed? Finally, we read the discussion section to gather information for the following questions. Has the author related the study's findings to previous research indicating similarities and differences? Can you explain any of the findings the author did not explain or were unable to explain? Has the author pointed out the possible weaknesses or limitations of the study? Has the author pointed out the practical, pedagogical, or theoretical implications of the study's findings?